All right, we are back preseason. We got a 3-game slate here on Friday. This will be a little bit of a quicker video just because I have a lot going on right now with FIBA World Cup covering preseason as well. So, as I said a couple times, just very little sleep for me this weekend. Yeah, if you guys are new, again, my name is DK. I cover content for NBA, NFL, player prop sites like Prize Picks and Underdog. If you guys are looking for more content for DFS or for player prop stuff, you can check out my Patreon link down below. It's been a phenomenal preseason for us so far. And DFS, a ton of different content. You can check it out, link down below. But basically, a lot of data, snap percentage, routes, targets, carries. I post that all over on Patreon, player pool, constant updates, live stream, all that good stuff. So if you're interested in that, check it out, link down below. But yeah, let's just get right into the video. So we'll start off with Detroit and Carolina. So Detroit starters are not expected to play. Last week for Detroit, surprisingly, you did not see any Adrian Martinez. And it was just really, really bad offense from the Lions, which tilted me on the early slate. I was heavy on the wide receivers, so they only played like 5 guys, but they just could not move the ball 3 and out every time. That put me on full tilt mode last week. Bridgewater played 40% of the snaps. Nate Sudfeld played 60% of the snaps. You did not see any Adrian Martinez. The worry here, obviously, is if they play 3 quarterbacks in Bridgewater, Sudfeld, Martinez. If that's the case, it'll be a stay away for me. So we'll keep an eye on that news. Running backs for the Lions. So last week, they only played 3. And again, the Lions are just awful at reporting. They really are. It tilts me a lot because I was looking for info on the early slate. Jefferson and Reynolds were a little bit banged up. I wasn't sure if they were going to play. Just couldn't find anything if they were for sure in. And then this didn't even play Devine Ozigbo. Benny Snell barely played. So the Lions just, awful reporting. Some teams like the Saints are really good at reporting. We get all the news. And some teams, the Lions, we just have no idea what's happening. So last week, they only played 3 running backs. It was Reynolds that by far played the most, 52% of the snaps. You did not see Gibbs. You did not see Montgomery. I don't think we'll see them again. So it would be Reynolds and Jefferson if I would play any of these backs. Again, you did not even see Ozigbo play last game. Benny Snell barely played. So it's Reynolds. It's Jefferson. The wide receivers are where it gets interesting here. So they played 6 guys only, but 3 played a majority of the game. That was Dylan Drummond, 62% snaps, Chase Cota, 70% snaps, and Green, 76% snaps. So you saw Benson play a little bit, Moore played a couple snaps, and Avery Davis played a little bit. But yeah, you're not expected to see the starters or any of the main guys. So St. Brown, Jameson Williams is out, Marvin Jones Jr., Reynolds, Raymond, all not expected to play. Alexander's just a special teams guy. You didn't see a ton of work for Benson, so should be a lot of Cota, a lot of Drummond, a lot of Green. Right now, they're definitely 3 of the better wide receiver plays in the slate, in my opinion. Tight end for Detroit. So again, I'm looking through my spreadsheet right now, so sorry if there's like a little bit of a delay when I'm going through each of these tabs. James Mitchell played the most, 62% of the snaps. He ran 13 routes, 2 catches. I think he's an interesting tight end play, especially if he gets that amount of work once again. Let's move on to Carolina. So Carolina, we did see the starters last week, and it's expected that we will see them again. I think we're going to get similar run here for the starters for Carolina of probably a few drives. You saw 33% of snaps for Bryce Young, 51% for Matt Corral, and 16% for Jake Luton. So I don't think we'll see the veteran Andy Dalton, even if he is healthy. So Bryce Young, in a few drives, I think he's playable in tournaments, but I think there's probably going to be some other quarterbacks that are be better options. I think my favorite will once again be Matt Corral, who played, again, about half the game. He is somewhat mobile as well. Looking at the running backs for Carolina, so not expected to see Miles Sanders, obviously. You saw 3 running backs play. Once again, we did not see Peoples, who basically just playing on special teams. But you saw Spencer Brown, Blackshear, and Chuba Hubbard basically split it 3 ways. 32% of the snaps for Brown, 37% for Blackshear, 32% for Chuba Hubbard. I think all look pretty similar, in my opinion. And yeah, I don't have any super strong leans, but I think they're all relatively safe. Again, with only 3 running backs expected to play, all 3 look solid. Wide receivers, so there are a few injuries here with Chenault. DJ Chark, I know, got banged up. Marshall's not going to play in this game, but they still should have a fair amount of guys active. Last game, they played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys. So starters, again, expecting a few drives. That should be kind of like Adam Thielen and Mingo. And then, some of these back-end guys might play a little bit more. If you look at the data last week, Shi Smith played the most. He played 49% of the snaps. I think he's a relatively safe option. 17 routes for him. Let's see, what else was there to mention? Javon Wims also played 51% of the snaps. So I think Wims and Shi Smith are probably my two preferred options here in Carolina. But if you wanted to get to a Mingo, I think that's okay, or some of these back end guys as well. Tight ends for Carolina. So last week, it was relatively spread out. Tommy Tremble played 40% of the snaps. I believe, hold on. It wasn't him. I thought it was Tremble that got banged up. But yeah, so if I had to play one of these tight ends for Carolina, it probably would be him. Let's move on to New England and Tennessee. So New England, it was a weird game, right? They didn't even finish that game because of that injury, scary injury. I believe he's okay, though. But yeah, New England last week, you did see some Mac Jones, and then Bailey Zappi basically played the rest of the game. Cunningham did play snaps, but again, he didn't play any at quarterback. So we'll keep an eye on the news here for the New England Patriots. If I had to guess, I would say that we don't see the starters, but don't know that for sure. If that is the case, if the starters don't play, then Bailey Zappi becomes a really interesting play. At the running back position, and Pierre Strong's banged up. He did not play last game, so you just saw a lot of two guys. Ramondre Stevenson played like one drive, and then you saw a lot of Kevin Harris and J.J. Taylor. So I think both guys are pretty good options here, especially if Pierre Strong's not able to go. Again, if you do see the starters, it's probably one drive or so. And C.J. Marable is basically just a warm body that they sign, and then kind of just for emergency purposes. So I'm really not expecting him to play. All right, let's talk about the wide receivers here for New England. So wide receiver depth chart, again, they don't have a ton of guys on this roster. I'm not really expecting the starters to play. Tyquan Thornton is banged up, so I don't think we see Juju, Parker, Bourne. Thornton's banged up. If you take a look at the snaps last week, and Trey Nixon also is out. He's on the IR. Again, I played him last week because, again, no one runs worse. But Radley Webb played 53% of the snaps. Butte played 33% of the snaps. Tyreek Pitts played 38% of the snaps. And you saw some starters play. I'm not sure if they'll play in this game. Parker, 29%. Juju, 28%. Kendrick Bourne, 26%. So if a lot of these starters are out, I think there's going to be some interesting plays here. Pitts, Cunningham did play some at wide receiver. Raleigh Webb. I think Butte. So this could be a pretty thin wide receiver group here for New England. We'll monitor the news there with the starters. And looking at the tight ends for the Patriots. So last week, it was Matt Sokol that played the most, 57% snaps, 17 routes. Ferkser, 29% of the snaps, and 13 routes. Let's talk about Tennessee. So Tennessee, you saw Malik Willis play the whole game last game. Will Levis has been practicing, so I think he plays. My best guess here for what happens is you probably see a half of football each, or they could. What they did in game one is they just kind of alternated drives. So we'll monitor the news there, but I'm pretty sure that they will get about a half each. Looking at the running backs, we're not going to see Derrick Henry. Haskins was banged up; he didn't play last game. So I think you could see a fair amount of Chestnut and Spears. Last game, 3 running backs played. Chestnut by far played the most, 52% of the snaps. Spears played 23% of the snaps, and Patrick played 25% of the snaps. That was it. Ward also banged up too. So if you get a similar situation, I think Chestnut would be the guy that I would look to the most. I think he'd be one of the better running back plays on the board. And then Spears, I still would have some interest in as well. But the snaps weren't amazing in him. For only 3 running backs playing, he only played 23% of the snaps. Looking at the wide receivers here for Tennessee, so there's a couple injuries. They played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys last game. A couple things I wanted to mention. So Trayshawn Harrison played the most out of anyone. He played 72% of the snaps. I think he's an interesting value play. Mason Kinsey played 36% snaps. Reggie Roberson played 43% snaps. But again, they were relatively spread out. So I think when I'm looking at some of these receivers, probably would be these back-end guys, Roberson, Kinsey, Harrison. Again, I don't expect really to see the starters for Tennessee. Tight ends, they played way too many guys. Way too many guys. Chig did have 1 catch and 3 targets, but they literally played like 8 tight ends. I'm going to stay away from the Tennessee tight ends. And finally, Chargers and 49ers. So this one will be important. I think you might see a lot of Max Duggan, however you pronounce his name. I need to I forget what it is. But Easton Stick played 100% snaps last week. I think you could see a game where this go to Dugan for the 100% snaps this week. So that'll be important to keep an eye on that news. But if that is the case, then he will obviously be the best quarterback play in the slate because he's mobile. If they go back to Stick and play him 100% snaps, and obviously he's the best quarterback play in the slate. So the Chargers, we might have one of these quarterbacks playing the entire game. And then with the Chargers, we know they never play their starters in the preseason. Looking at the running backs last week for the Chargers, so they played 4 guys, relatively spread out snaps. Dotson played the most, 34% of the snaps. Spiller played 27% of snaps. Kelly, 20% of the snaps. 4 guys did play. Looking at the wide receivers for the Chargers, so you did see a few guys get extended run last game. So looking at the snaps for them, John Hightower played 79% snaps, ran 40 routes. I was so tilted about this. I played him at low ownership on the Showdown slate. He had 5 targets, 79% snaps, but only 1 catch. So that really put me on tilt mode. I think he's going to be a good option. Again, I'm not really expecting to see much of the starters. Quentin Johnston did play. He played about a third of the game. He'll be productive if he does play when he's out there, but don't expect a ton of snaps for him. Other than that, I think the other guys look to probably would be Bynum, 46% of the snaps, and Keelan Doss, 54% of the snaps. All right, looking at tight ends for the Chargers. So last week, relatively spread out, 5 guys played. Parham a little bit banged up. McKitty, 23% of the snaps. Stone Smart, 40% snaps. Did run 20 routes. That is a little bit interesting to me. Whatever a Stone Smart is, I think it is an interesting play. And then finally, the 49ers. So for the 49ers, last week, looking at the quarterbacks, we did see 3 quarterbacks play. Brock Purdy basically played 1 drive. Now, it sounds like the 49ers starters will once again play in week 3. We just don't know how long. So, again, it'll be important. Hopefully, we'll get some clarity on that. But once Purdy went out, it was basically split between Lance and Darnold. So 3 quarterbacks play again. It'll be kind of tough to prioritize any of them. Looking at the running backs for San Francisco, so 3 running backs played only last game. That was TDP, 42% of snaps, Jordan Mason, 33% of the snaps, and then McNichols, only 19% of the snaps. McNichols did get a little bit banged up. Again, I'm not expecting to see McCaffrey or Elijah Mitchell. So I think TDP and Mason actually stand out as 2 really good running back plays on this slate, especially if those 2 are going to get a majority of the work at the running back position. Again, you have a couple fullbacks listed here. And McNichols got banged up. I'm not expecting to see Elijah Mitchell or McCaffrey. So this could be a game where you see a lot of TDP and a lot of Jordan Mason. And then again, with McCaffrey and Mitchell, if they do play right, if the starters do play, you probably get like a drive or 2. So they could play one or 2 series, but expect a lot of Mason and TDP. So I wanted to make that pretty clear. All right. And finally, for the wide receiver position for San Francisco, once again, Ronnie Bell outsnapped everyone, 66% snaps. If the starters do play, I'm expecting a drive or so, a drive or 2. Outside of Ronnie Bell, Tay Martin, the rookie, played 38% of the snaps. Conley and Snead, some veterans, played 33 and 41% of the snaps, respectively. So, yeah, if you're looking to one of these receivers here, I think it's Ronnie Bell and then Tay Martin. And then with the starters, we'll monitor it. Again, I'll be pretty surprised if they play a lot, but we'll keep an eye on the news there. And finally, tight ends for the 49ers. So last game, you saw 5 tight ends play. It was Latu and Braden Willis that played a lot. Latu, 47% snaps, 17 routes, and Willis, 38% snaps and 16 routes. All right, guys, so that'll do it for the video. I know it's a little bit of a quicker one, but as always, if you do enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I did want to get a video up here for you guys for this 3-game preseason slate. Thanks again, and we'll see you all in the next one.